Angels that protect us. They're absolutely there. Of course, the Lord is there. Now, I've been meaning to do some testimonies on different things. This one will be on protection that has been over me in this particular situation. It's just unbelievable. I was living in Hawaii at the time in a large high rise. I think it had 40 plus stories. Working as a carpenter outside of their building high rises. But when I came home, I would do jobs for people that lived in the apartments. And the parking garage was in the basement and second floor. And I had a job to do somewhere on, I think it might have been on the 12th floor. That doesn't really matter. It was in there. I don't like those numbers anyway. But so I'm working. I go downstairs in the elevator to grab some tools out of my truck. I get back in the elevator and there's a guy standing in there with his hands behind his back. And he didn't say nothing. He was really strange and odd. And I'd seen him around a few times in the building. But I got out of the elevator and I didn't know he had followed me to this apartment that I was working on that was actually empty. And my key wouldn't open the door. And these are wide open hallways. There's doors across from each other for all the different apartments. He comes up behind me and taps me on my shoulder. I turn around. I didn't have my shirt on. It's real warm climate. And he had a butcher knife in his hand. And it just barely grazed my belly. It didn't even scratch it, but I felt it go across it when I turned around. So then he walks away from me. Just when I was getting ready to I had to do something. It was milliseconds. I didn't know what to do. I knew I had to hurt this guy right away. And I didn't. He turned around and left me and walked a few feet over to the wall in the hallway. And everything's concrete in those high rises. And he started going nuts, stabbing this concrete wall. I mean, just unbelievable, just in a frenzy with this butcher knife. And I went away from him, of course, stood back because I didn't know what I was going to have to do. Then he walked over to the elevator and started stabbing the elevator door. Well, I took the stairway down, of course, right? It gives me chills thinking about it. So, of course, I call the police. They come and get him. And they tell me, you got to come upstairs and look in this guy's house. You don't know how lucky you are. He had been living there for a few months. And he was clearly not all there. And his family members got him this apartment because they couldn't control him anymore. And put him in there. Clearly just demon-filled. Went into the apartment. And keep in mind, in these high rises, all the walls, in Hawaii anyway, the high rises, they're all concrete. Except for maybe a small partition wall here and there for a bathroom. He had been in there for months, stabbing the walls. Concrete walls are all chipped. The couch, the floor, the TV. There was nothing that he had not butchered. And he walked up behind me. And of course, when I got out of that elevator initially, he was behind me then too. And followed me to that door of that apartment, which I couldn't open. It always worked before. And he tapped me on the back, right on top of my shoulder, with the butcher knife. And by the time I turned around, he had already had it, holding it at his waist. And when I turned around, he was so close to me that the tip of that butcher knife rubbed my stomach. And that's for anyone that thinks that And that's not for you guys that visit here or gals, but don't forget we do have protection here. I've got many other stories, unbelievable things that have happened to me, and most of it in Hawaii. But some of it over here where I'm at now too in Indiana. But some food for thought. We have divine intervention, intercession, protection like we can't even imagine. I mean, he could have taken me in the elevator on the way to that apartment I was working on, because that's a big wide open hallway. When you step out, there's like a bunch of doors and a big hallway. And then especially when he was right behind me when I was trying to open the door to the apartment I was working on, and tapped me on the back, the shoulder, with a butcher knife. Turned around and he had it at my stomach. And within, I don't know, it must have been maybe a second, because I had already decided I had to, I was just getting ready to jump on him. I had to. He walks away and is just going at this concrete wall with that knife. So we have so much protection. And the enemy is actually out there and tries to get to some of us for sure. But we have protection. I guess that's what I'm just trying to say here.